The EU has launched an in-depth probe into the big Microsoft Activision Blizzard acquisition proposal that, if approved, has serious cloud gaming implications. Join us for Xbox Cloud Gaming Future. Fate of the Activision Blizzard deal begins. It's CDO Daily. Let's get into this one. What's up, people? What's up, people? What's up, people? It is your boy, MM2KF, PNTS Network, and the Cloud Dosage platform, back again with another CDO Daily. Can you do us a huge favor before we get into this one? Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and rock those bells for notifications, please, so you know when we're dropping these doses. We appreciate all of y'all straight up. You know the deal. You know the reason. By now, y'all should know the slogan. We are not too proud to ask. So let's get into this one. All right. So, as you all should be aware, that Xbox sometime last year put in a bid to buy Activision Blizzard, the makers of big time franchises like Call of Duty, Overwatch, Diablo, and a lot of mobile games, with Activision Blizzard's acquisition of King not too much prior to it being bidded on by Microsoft. It's a $70 billion deal, the biggest in gaming, if I'm correct. And it's gone over a lot of scrutiny recently from the EU. And now EU regulators have launched what they are calling a phase 2 investigation into the deal, and they laid out a bevy of concerns. So let's get into that story and let's talk about it on the back end. All right. So this comes to us courtesy of our good friends at VGC.com. Their story reads, EU launches in-depth probe of Microsoft proposed Activision Blizzard acquisition. More detailed inquiry opened amid competition concerns. The story reads, the European Commission has officially launched an in-depth probe of Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard. As expected, following its initial inquiries into the $68.7 billion deal, the European watchdog said on Tuesday that it had opened a phase 2 investigation amid competition concerns. The Commission is concerned that the proposed acquisition may reduce competition in the market for the distribution of console and personal computers, PCs, video games, and for PC operating systems, it said. Now, the Commission has also said that, in particular, it is concerned that by acquiring Activision Blizzard, Microsoft may foreclose access to Activision Blizzard's console and PC video games, especially to high-profile and highly successful games, so-called AAA games such as Call of Duty, it wrote. Now, here's the more relevant part to us cloud gamers, because I did another video on the whole PC side, or not, the PC console side. But here I want to talk specifically about cloud gaming. So this is one of their concerns in releasing this, which is very, very interesting. We're going to talk about it on the back end. When it comes to multi-game subscription services and or cloud game streaming services in particular, the Commission is concerned that by acquiring Activision Blizzard, Microsoft may foreclose access to the detriment of its rival distributors of console and PC video games that offer such services to its own PC and console video games, which are key for the provision of the nascent services of multi-game subscription and cloud game streaming. Quote, such foreclosure strategies could reduce competition in the market for the distribution of console and PC video games, leading to higher prices, lower quality, and less innovation for console game distributors, which may in turn be passed on to consumers. Now, there's more that I have highlighted there. A lot of it is more to the console side, but I want to talk about the cloud side. So basically what they're saying on the cloud side, again, go check out my video on MM2K Gaming. That's youtube.com/@MM2K Gaming for the whole story that looks at the EU Phase 2 investigation more broadly for mainstream gaming. Here are my thoughts on the on the cloud gaming side. Basically what they're saying, and really to the detriment of Microsoft's prior arguments, By you absorbing Activision Blizzard, our concern not only is you restricting this to other cloud platforms, but our concern is that a lot of these cloud gaming platforms piggyback off of, let's say, PCs, like the PC counterpart. So if I can no longer play Call of Duty, which I don't think you can play Call of Duty through Steam now, but let's just say, if I can no longer play an Activision Blizzard game via a third party, any third party application or on PC store, let's just say I want to play that game on the cloud. Say if playing on the cloud for me is vital, it's just as vital as me playing it locally, I'm going to be forced into a situation to where I got to use Xbox and xCloud, because now by you curtailing the cloud version, that's going to have an effect of where I decide to go buy the native version. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I said that there were several things that I hope that the EU and the CMA, whoever's looking over this, are keen on. And Microsoft, like, just be slick and wordplay them and let this go over their head. And one of the things I thought was the whole Azure servers thing, where they say that they're at a detriment on the cloud gaming side, which was to me a bunch of malarkey, but I know that lawyers got to try to drum up whatever they can. But I thought that was one of the weaker arguments. Why? Because even though we can all admit that Xbox cloud gaming, maybe the raw components of it, is the least impressive out of all the cloud platforms, location is everything. And in so many ad pieces, in so many conversations they've had with consumers and developers, they speak to how Azure, even though these are not built on Azure server blades, that the placement in the Azure data centers gives them an advantage that no one else has, which is true because of Azure's footprint and Azure's sustainability. And we cloud gamers know that you can have the best raw technical services or backdrop to support your cloud gaming platform, but if it's not in enough locations, and the stability of those data centers is key too. Like, I run into people, and it boggled my mind at first until this was driven home. I ran into people who told me that when they play xCloud, it's just as good as Stadia. I said, you know what? You're full of it. But after investigating the GC ping, that is how close they are to a Google data center, I found out that these people, in a lot of cases, really in most cases, were closer to an Xbox or an Azure data center, more so than they were a Google data center. Reason explained. So for them to say that they're at a disadvantage, maybe the raw tech is. In a lot of ways, yes. There are some things that where if data center location isn't an issue, you're surrounded by both Google and Azure data centers, then yeah, you're going to notice a significant difference in a lot of ways. It also depends on your network. But yeah, if your network is good, you're going to notice a significant difference. If not, like if Azure is more in your favor, as far as location and data center wise, then there you go. And look, here's the thing. Someone could say, well, I'm closer to, people could be closer to Google data. That's less likely because there's more Azure data centers spread out. xCloud is in more locations. You know what I'm saying? Than Google was, Stadia before it got shut down. So, or before it was, announced of it being shut down. So there you have it. But I thought that was the argument that they would lean on the most when it came to cloud gaming. They've taken it a step further. They said, not only do we recognize the potential of you shutting down other cloud platforms, We hear your argument. We see your argument that it's only a 1% business and it's not that big of a deal, yada, yada, yada. But you're going to have a long-term effect on the dedicated gaming counterpart. Because like, for instance, if I want to play Call of Duty and now playing on the cloud is important to me, that's going to sway my decision. As cloud gaming grows, that's going to be important. We get that it's small now, but it's going to grow, or you wouldn't be invested in it. That's going to sway my decision on where I buy the game. And I go back to our good friend Doc Dark. I gotta reach out to Doc. It's been a long time since I had a chat with my good friend. But you know, when we originally talked to Doc Dark and he got introduced to the cloud gaming community, it was because you know, we wanted to make sure that he was fully aware of what Stadia was capable of. And then once he became aware, excuse me, he started making a decision at that time. At the time of being introduced to Stadia and him like really liking the performance, he said, look, if there is a game that I know I want to play on the go and I'm going to play it on the go often, I may get it on Stadia first, because I know that even though it may play better on my Xbox Series X than it is Stadia, Stadia is not bad at all. And you get that same performance all the way around, where he said oppose for him at the time, he could enjoy it on his Xbox Series X, yes, but when he goes and he's mobile with the game, he's not going to enjoy the experience, because for him, xCloud just wasn't playable anymore, especially after experiencing Stadia. That's what they're talking about here in this argument. And that is key. And that really tells me that either A, somebody wrote a real in-depth letter to the CMA or somebody, and they were paying attention to that letter, or the CMA or EU or whoever's regulating this, they're not as or separated from reality as we may have thought they were. They're really sharp on this. Now, granted, as I've said in my other wholesale video, I give this still a 40% chance of passing in favor of it passing. If I'm being honest, the gamer in me doesn't want it to pass, but the business side of me, the guy with the 25 plus years experience, Fortune 500 experience, if I'm invested in Microsoft, I'm like, hell yeah, this thing has to happen. I'm going to be honest with you though. This might bring it down some, depending upon what we hear. Now, we may not hear anything until the this is it, I think. So they have until the 23rd to make a decision, but they vowed that they're going to make a decision by March 1st. And I don't think we're going to hear anything else about this until March 1st. Now, here are my thoughts. Based upon my experience, the EU's a lot tougher shell to crack. If the EU approves it, I think you're likely to get some resolve from the states, and they're going to approve it. They're probably going to wait. There are rumors that the states could render their decision soon, but they may wait. I don't know, because on the gaming side, I'm not that familiar with how these deals happen on the gaming side. But what I can tell you that I know that, which is universal across the board, EU regulation is tough. As I said in my previous video, that even though I have 25 years of Fortune 500 experience here in the States, that when we go up with these new modules that they require certain employees and managers to go over, we are more focused on the EU part, because the EU part is so intricate, it's so layered, it's so complicated, and the penalties for not doing it right based upon their regulations are so much more severe than they are in the States, that we put more focus on the EU regulations when we're going through these training modules than we do our own, period. So when I saw how big this deal was, I knew the EU was going to be a problem. And I told my friends this, a lot of my friends that are close to what goes on at Microsoft, and they didn't want to believe me. I have no reason to lie over video games. They should have listened. Now they're talking like they ain't sure this is going to happen. You know what I'm saying? And if this doesn't happen on the cloud gaming side, as someone who has xCloud myself, I would ask myself, on someone who doesn't have the data center issue, what is going to be the biggest pull? Microsoft talked as if Game Pass at its 15% threshold really wasn't the biggest priority anymore. It was just an option. And the only thing that'll get them over that 15% wall is having something like Call of Duty, because like I've been telling you guys for the last few years, Game Pass is not a tool that's built for casual gamers. And there's more casual gamers than there are hardcore gamers. We are hardcore gamers. People that even know who I am, listen to podcasts, those are hardcore gamers. Get my cousin who plays nothing but Madden and Call of Duty to listen to a gaming podcast. He's gonna look at you like you have 6 heads on your neck. Those are casual gamers. They're just playing. They're not all into the culture. They just want to play what they're going to play, and they know what they want to play. And you guys tried to argue me down, but I tried to tell you. And Microsoft kind of knew this, but they were banking that they could put forward the value proposition and not would sway casual gamers. But the problem is, you gotta definitely have what casual gamers want. Casual gamers don't care about playing a whole bunch of games. They just want access to what they want. So if you're giving them access, if you're not giving them access to what they want, this is a no-brainer. So in order to crack that 15% threshold and keep moving with the Game Pass plan as originally wanted, they got to get Call of Duty in there. They got to get one of those top tier games in there. Now, Fortnite is a great addition on the whole beta side. As you can see, again, Fortnite is a top tier game. Now it's accessible, and it's accessible for free. They need games like that. What are those games? Fortnite, Call of Duty, Madden, FIFA, NBA 2K. Those are the games that they have to have in there. But they need to have Call of Duty in there. They got to get it. That's a huge win for them, not for just now, but for the longevity of what they want at Game Pass to be, to help them get to the 3 billion gamers they quote now. It can't happen without another of those top tier games embedded in the service. They got to get it. So my question is, if they don't get it, what's going to be the biggest draw towards the xCloud portion of it? How much are they really going to invest in making it better? They're all serious questions. We're going to find out. I think this deal is going to be at the center of it. This is not clickbait, this title. This is serious. This is going to have serious implications, not just on, what Xbox's strategy is going forward. It's not going to kill Xbox if it doesn't go through. Hell no. But what it's going to do is really spell the fate of xCloud. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. That's it from your boy. Let me know what you think about all this in the comment section below, because like I always do, curious what I think. But if you did like what I had to say, check out the links below to follow me. Those links will lead you to the Broadband Bullies, PNTS Network, Hard Knock Digital Culture, and yes, here, Cloud Dosage. With all that said, peace. Have a wonderful gaming day.